Making headlines, Privatization and Corporatization Board appoints Mohammad Firuzul Abdullah Khalil as a board member and managing director of the Maldives Hajj Corporation. Heritage Minister announces that the research and documentation of historical heritage sites across 18 atolls have been completed. And Parliament unanimously approves a legislative measure reducing the import duty on cigarettes to $0.26, reversing a recent tax increase to align with WHO recommendations.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Fatma Zaina Rifat. And now for the news in detail. Mohammad Firuzul Abdullah Khalil is appointed as a board member and managing director of the Maldives Hajj Corporation. The Privatization and Corporatization Board (PCB), the regulatory board for state-owned enterprises, announced that Firuzul's appointment took effect on Tuesday. Before his appointment, Firuzul served as the Undersecretary for Presidential Affairs at the President's Office. He also previously held the post of Undersecretary for Public Policy, where he played a key role in formulating government policies. Firuzul holds a degree in Sharia and law from Al-Azhar University in Egypt. He was appointed Managing Director of the Maldives Hajj Corporation following the vacancy created by the departure of Mohammad Shakil, who was recently appointed as a member of the Elections Commission. The Minister of Arts, Culture and Heritage, Hina Walid, announces that the research and documentation of historical heritage sites across 18 atolls have been completed. The minister made the remarks while responding to a question from a member of the parliament.
Minister Hina said more than 400 heritage sites across the Maldives has so far been listed. She added that a special initiative, the Maritime Survey, is being carried out jointly by the National Center for Cultural Heritage and Kyoto University of Japan to manage the sites and collect further information. She said the survey and documentation of heritage sites have now been completed in 18 atolls, while work is continuing in Alifu Alifu and Alifu Dalu atoll. The minister said documentation work in the two atolls is expected to be completed during July, after which the project will move to Male. She said that once work in Male is completed, the documentation and cataloguing of heritage sites across the Maldives will be finalized. She said once these projects are finished, this information will be available in an online database for students and researchers, adding access to search and view. This data will be free of charge. She also said that the data will serve as a crucial information for making policy-level decisions and for the further development of this sector. Speaking about the Lily House development project in Kelaha Alifu atoll, the minister said a team from the ministry visited the island last month to carry out assessments. She said physical work on the project is expected to begin as soon as possible, with the aim of completing it within this year. Furthermore, Minister Hina provided an update on efforts to secure UNESCO World Heritage status for the Maldives Coral Stone Mosques. As such, she said the nomination file submitted to UNESCO in January had been accepted and is currently under evaluation. A UNESCO evaluation team is scheduled to visit the Maldives in September to assess the nominated sites. She said securing World Heritage status would represent a major milestone not only for preserving the Maldives' cultural heritage but also for strengthening the country's tourism sector.
The Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation, Mohammad Amin, expresses confidence that the Shangri-La and Hankede projects will see significant progress from this month.
Responding to a question from Ahmad Azan, parliamentarian for the Hitadu Mid constituency, during a sitting of the parliament, Minister Amin said the Hankede project is a key tourism development initiative for the southern region. He said the government is preparing to launch the project under a new approach and that a detailed implementation plan, including the timeline for the commencement of physical works, will be announced within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Furthermore, Minister announced a decision has been made to significantly expand the operational capacity of Shangri-La in July, following positive discussions between Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation and the resort's operators. Minister Amin noted that although the resort resumed operations on 30th December 2025, it has so far been operating on a limited scale. Reopening Shangri-La was one of President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu's presidential pledges, and the resort welcomed guests again on 30th December last year. The government is also continuing efforts to expand tourism in the southern region, including Addu city. As part of those efforts, it is working to identify new opportunities to promote tourism in Addu and implement additional development projects in the city.
Minister of Homeland Security, Labour and Technology, Ali Ihsan, calls for prisoners to receive vocational training that would enable them to establish their own construction companies after completing their sentences. He made the remarks while speaking at a ceremony to inaugurate a new office building at Esseri Prison.
The new building was designed and constructed by prison officers and inmates. It includes additional office space, a classroom and a meeting room, and is expected to help address existing space constraints at the prison. Speaking at the ceremony, Minister Ihsan praised the quality of the construction work, saying it demonstrated the capabilities and skills of both prison officers and inmates. He stressed the importance of expanding vocational training programs to equip prisoners with practical skills that would enable them to become entrepreneurs and contractors after their release. During the visit, Minister Ihsan and Commissioner of Prisons Hassan Zarid laid the foundation stone of a new prison kitchen, which is expected to improve catering facilities at the prison. Certificates were presented to 36 prisoners who completed a religious awareness program held during the holy month of Ramadan. Certificates were also awarded to 29 participants, including 5 prison officers and 24 prisoners who completed the Khad 100 program. The minister also inaugurated the Qiraat Certificate Level 1 course with 35 prisoners enrolled. In addition, he officially launched a prison football tournament involving 7 inmate teams aimed at promoting health and strengthening social relationships among prisoners.
Parliament unanimously approves a legislative measure reducing the import duty on cigarettes to $0.26, reversing a recent tax increase to align with the World Health Organization recommendations.
Introduced on behalf of the government by parliamentarian for Kathmandu constituency Muhammad Ibrahim, the bill secured endorsement from all 68 attending members. The amendment formally halves the existing tariff of $0.52, extending the statutory reduction to hand-rolled cigarettes and non-combustible heated tobacco products. Officials acknowledge the reduction will diminish projected customs revenue within the national budget. To advance public health objectives, the legislation entirely eliminates import duties on smoking cessation aids, including nicotine patches and gum manufactured to assist individuals in transitioning away from tobacco. The policy shift follows a November 2024 adjustment that elevated the levy on a single cigarette from $0.21 to $0.52. The government attributed the latest revision to guidance from the World Health Organization (WHO). These legislative adjustments arrive amid broader administrative efforts to curb tobacco use. Over the past 2 years, authorities have implemented a generational smoking ban and a complete prohibition on the importation and sale of vaping devices. A national tobacco control campaign launched on 27 June seeks to unite civil society and institutions through public awareness and expanded cessation services. The law takes effect upon ratification by the President, mandating publication of revised procedural guidelines within 30 days.
The government is continuing efforts to develop maritime culture as a key industry in the Maldives, with a growing number of Maldivian companies investing in the sector.
To support the industry's development, The government has designated 5 areas for mariculture activities. These include Bodutila Dummati, comprising of Ha Alifu and Ha Dalu atolls, Ra Atoll, Mimu Atoll, Ta Atoll, and a lagoon located approximately 2 kilometers from Maniafushi. A private company launched a seaweed cultivation project on Fehendu Ba Atoll last year to generate export revenue. The project, operated by Floating Acres, exported its first shipment of seaweed earlier this year. Ministry of Fisheries, Agriculture and Ocean Resources said the success of that initiative has encouraged further investment in the sector. According to the ministry, another company, STM, has now entered the industry and has begun cultivating seaweed in Konde and Kolamafushi in Gafo Alifu Atoll. The ministry also said a new project to manufacture seaweed-based products has been developed with technical assistance from the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO and has received approval to proceed. It said the initiative has created employment opportunities in the islands where the projects are being implemented, while opening new opportunities to maximize the economic benefits of the country's marine resources. The ministry added that discussions are also underway with the Japanese government to formulate another project aimed at further expanding the sustainable use of the Maldives' marine resources. To support businesses entering the sector, the government has introduced a dedicated mariculture scheme which provides financial assistance for the purchase of sea cages. According to the government, the scheme will help existing operators expand their businesses while encouraging new investors to enter the mariculture industry.
Commissioner of Prisons Hassan Zarir says the Maldives Correctional Service has ceased relying on expensive leased office spaces, shifting operations to a proprietary headquarters that eliminates substantial recurring costs for the state budget. The operational transition was detailed by the Commissioner during the inauguration of an ancillary facility at Aseri Prison, a complex built jointly by officers and inmates. The central headquarters was formally opened on 20th November last year by President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu. By vacating leased properties, the agency expects to save approximately $64,850.84 monthly. Prior to this relocation, the service faced monthly rental obligations exceeding $35,667.96 for facilities suffering from severe infrastructural deficiencies. Zarir described the previous working conditions as highly detrimental, noting the leased building was prone to interior leaks during rainfall, which frequently ruined official documents. The Correctional Service has secured a permanent self-sufficient base. Throughout its history of 54 years, the agency operated from dilapidated structures requiring perpetual repair. The new facility, spanning 12,000 square feet, accommodates 175 civilian and sworn staff, centralizing 15 distinct sections on state land. Emirates resumes its scheduled flights to the Maldives after a 4-month suspension. The airline had suspended services to the Maldives because of unrest in the Middle East. Emirates has also resumed scheduled flights to neighboring Sri Lanka. The daily services operate as an extension of Emirates Dubai Malé flight EK652. After arriving in Malé, the aircraft continues to Colombo. The return service EK653 operates from Colombo, stopping in Malé before returning to Dubai. The airline is using Boeing 777 aircraft on the route. Emirates is one of the leading airlines bringing tourists to the Maldives. The resumption of its services is expected to improve connectivity for travelers to destinations across the Middle East, Europe, and the Americas. Tourism industry experts also believe the return of the airline services will strengthen tourism and trade ties between the Maldives and the United Arab Emirates, while also improving connectivity with Sri Lanka. The closure of regional airspace during the unrest in the Middle East caused significant disruption to Emirates' network. According to available statistics, more than 30,000 flights were cancelled across airports in the region. Around 30% of tourists traveling to the Maldives arrive via Middle Eastern routes. Emirates has been gradually rebuilding its network, resuming services to more than 110 destinations by mid-March. The airline is now operating flights on revised routes that have been assessed and verified as safe. The conflict has also affected other major Gulf carriers, including Qatar Airways and Etihad Airways, resulting in widespread flight cancellations. Following joint efforts by the Maldivian government and tourism industry stakeholders to minimize the impact of the disruption, many airlines have resumed services to the Maldives, while some have increased the frequency of their flights. The resumption of Emirates Maldives and Sri Lanka services is expected to provide a further boost to Sri Lanka's export sector and the Maldives tourism industry. Emirates has served both countries for more than 3 decades. Minister of Economic Development, Transport and Trade, Mohammad Saeed, announces construction of the new commercial harbour at Tilafushi will begin this month as part of the government's plan to relocate the Malé commercial harbour. Speaking at a press briefing at the President's office, Minister Saeed said the foundation stone for the project will be laid on 6th July, with the relocation of port operations targeted for completion by November 2027. The minister said the country's existing port infrastructure has not kept pace with growing demand, despite a rising population and an annual tourist arrival figure exceeding 2 million. He noted that the logistics capacity required to support a population and visitor base of around 2.4 million has not expanded in line with the rapid growth of the tourism sector. He added that the expanding of the country's maritime infrastructure is essential to complement the ongoing expansion of Welana International Airport and to meet the Maldives' future economic and logistical needs. Minister Saeed said the decision to proceed with the project reflects President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu's commitment to modernizing the country's infrastructure. As part of preparations ahead of the start of construction, the government has established a designated storage area for empty shipping containers on Tilafushi to ease congestion and improve logistics at the existing commercial harbour. The dollar gets a boost from a sharp rise in treasury yields and pushes the yen to a 40-year trough, as traders braced for a crucial U.S. jobs report and ramped up bets on an imminent Federal Reserve rate hike. The yen slid to its weakest level against the dollar since 1986 overnight, touching 162.59 and fueling speculation that Tokyo could be nearing direct intervention. Traders see the upcoming U.S. public holiday on Friday as potential window for Tokyo to buy yen, as thinner liquidity conditions could magnify the impact of any intervention. In the broader market, the dollar was on the front foot as it rode an overnight jump in U.S. Treasury yields. Venezuelan Assembly President Jorge Rodriguez says Venezuela's death toll from last week's twin earthquakes rose to 1,943. Rodriguez said the number of injured had reached 10,571 and that 15,866 people had been left homeless by the disaster. Rodriguez said authorities had opened 14 shelters in La Guaira state and 55 shelters across Caracas, Miranda, and other affected states. He added that the government estimated about 30,000 people were in the areas of Carabayeda and Catia La Mar when the two earthquakes struck. The earthquake struck Venezuela last Wednesday, June 24th, causing severe damage in La Guaira and other areas near the capital, Caracas. LeBron James, a 4-time NBA champion and the league's all-time leading scorer, tells the Los Angeles Lakers he plans to play for another team next season. James, a 4-time NBA Finals Most Valuable Player, joined the Lakers in 2018. He was selected with the first pick in the 2003 NBA Draft by his hometown Cavaliers, where he spent 7 seasons before announcing during a live TV special titled The Decision that he was leaving for Miami. The announcement damaged James' public image and led to many people burning his replica number 23 jerseys on Cleveland's streets that night. In Miami, James teamed up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to create an instant powerhouse that won 2 NBA titles during their 4 seasons together in South Beach. James then returned to Cleveland and in 2016 rallied the team from a 3-1 series deficit in the NBA Finals to stun Golden State and make good on his promise to deliver the Cavaliers their first championship. 2 years later, James again left his hometown team, where he remains the franchise leader in nearly every major statistical category, to join the Lakers, where for the first time he played in the NBA's Western Conference. In a classroom at London Business School, participants logged onto laptops and enter a shared virtual world where artificial intelligence, AI, was used to help analyze how they communicated, collaborated, and made decisions under pressure. The exercise was run by Jensen 8, a UK-based company developing immersive team training tools for employers. Its browser-based platform, Boomathlon, is designed to look like a game but function as a live diagnostic of team behavior, using AI to support facilitators with data gathered during the session and post-session feedback. The company says the platform can be accessed via a web link without headsets, downloads, or specialist hardware, allowing participants in different locations to join the same high-pressure scenario from standard laptops. She said Jensen 8 is using AI to gather more real-time data during the exercise and to act as what she called as a thought leader alongside the game, generating prompts and questions intended to help participants reflect on how they would behave in teams. Jade Mountain, Director for Strategic Digital Learning Solutions at London Business School, said the AI acted as a support mechanism for facilitators rather than replacing human judgment. Jensen 8 offers several immersive formats. Boomathlon surfaces real-time behavioral data to help teams adapt, while Boomerang is a longer, deeper dive into actions and behaviors. The technology reflects growing interest among employers and education institutions in AI-assisted tools that can help access and develop hybrid or distributed teams beyond conventional workshops and staff surveys. And that's all the news we have today. Thank you for watching PSM News.